Hello, everyone. Greetings. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'm waiting for Ananda sir if he has joined. Okay. So welcome all of you to this sacred and heart-opening session. And I'm truly honored to hold space with all of you today as we come together on this Devi path of love, joy, healing, and inner awakening. I am Kavita Tulasyan. Today, I have joined as a co-host with Ananda sir. So before we begin, I invite all of you to take a moment to settle in, find a comfortable position, just settle yourself down. Or perhaps you can close your eyes for a brief moment, take a deep breath in and exhale gently and arrive yourself fully in this moment. Just leave behind all the noise of the outside world and be here in this present moment. Just allow your hearts to open up to this divine grace that is present here with us now. Take a moment, quiet your mind. Affirm that we are allowing ourselves to embrace this divine energy in this group consciousness. As today's session is very special, we are joined by a truly radiant soul, Camila Nassar. She is a Devi Circle teacher and the guide of the sacred process, Devi Heart, Miracle of Love with Mother Mary at the path of joy. So you can open your eyes, and as I introduce her, most of you might have known her through Devi Circle. So Camila ji is born and raised in Colombia. She has been deeply rooted in love, devotion, and divine service. So her early life was marked by spiritual dreams and clairvoyant experiences, revealing to her that the physical world is just one layer of existence. From a young age, she felt a profound and unshakable connection to Mother Mary. She has experienced her love continuously as she guided her path. So initially, she had pursued her career as a civil engineer, but then eventually, led by this divine calling, divine guidance by Mother Mary herself, she was like pulled into psychology, healing, and spiritual teaching. So her journey then shifted from Colombia to Switzerland, and from this academic success to transformative spiritual experiences. And her divinity was not only guided by Mother Mary, also by Goddess Lakshmi and Ma Durga. So when she took into this spiritual journey, she got herself as a trained psychologist, yoga teacher, Reiki master, and also Shakti Yoga meditation coach. So her works are beautifully blended with ancient wisdom and modern therapy, and with divine guidance of Devis. So over the years, she has channeled messages from Mother Mary, and it is about the purification of our heart. She has channeled the processes, how to help others and remember who they truly are. Often we have this question, who am I? So she has channeled those messages. And during the pandemic, she was guided to write and record the mysteries of the rosary. So I would like to ask her, what is this rosary? Because I have never heard about this before. So this is now very much popular in Spotify also, and she is also offering her transformative workshops like unfold the brightness of your heart, and she's helping people help clear their heart's impurities so that they can step into their fullest essence. And I am just so excited to talk to her, to listen to her, what she has to share with us. So I would like to welcome her with immense joy and reverence to guide us today. So over to you, Camila ji. You can unmute yourself.
Hello to you and to everyone that is joining. I don't know if you are listening to me.
Yes, he
It
can hear
sound
you.
okay?
Yes,
It
he
sound
can hear
okay?
you. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Perfect, fine.
So thank you for this beautiful introduction with such a generosity in your words and your kindness. And I am so happy. You cannot imagine the amount of joy and energy that I'm holding now in this moment in my physical body. It's like electricity going here and there, everywhere. So when Ananda ji asked me to join this session and to talk about psychology and spirituality, I felt like a huge yes. I said, yes, this is something that I really, really want to do because somehow this is like the summary of the guidance of God in my life since I was a kid till now. So it was through spirituality that I connected with Him, with that inner source of beauty that is not external, that it's within all of us. And at the same time that I connected with psychology, that for me, it's not a profession, but it's just like a tool that has helped me a lot to go through these challenges of life that I experience as all of us do by being a mother, by raising two kids. Now I have two teenagers at home, by being a teacher, by being just like a normal human being as all of us are. So today we're going to open this holy space for these two topics to be combined. And from myself, just like to serve as an instrument and to share with you a lot of things that has been very useful for me in my spiritual path. So I would like to start with a sentence. This was a sentence that started coming to my mind and to my heart in the 2015. It was 10 years ago. And the sentence was, God is gathering his army. This sentence was popping up in my mind frequently, constantly. I was still living in Colombia. And by that moment, I was not connected at all with meditation, with yoga. I was not connected at all with this reality of the transformation that Mother Earth is going through and this path that we are going of increasing our level of consciousness as a collective, not as an individual. So by that moment, I didn't really know which was the meaning of this. But then afterwards, when I moved to Switzerland and we were relocated in 2017, everything started making a little bit more of sense. But at that time, it was still something that I was not understanding completely, but somehow that was pushing me to a different path. In this case, the path of meditation, which was something absolutely new for myself. Through meditation, a lot of different things started happening to myself. I started connecting with the Divine Mother in a very profound and in a very wide way. So till that moment in my life, for me, Divine Mother was Mother Mary. It was the only representation of Divine Mother that I had in my heart, that I had in my soul. But after I started doing meditation, for me, the representation of Divine Mother started to become so wide. And for me, at the beginning, it was very confusing, I have to say, but at the same time, it was very enriching process. Through that widening of the representation of the Divine Mother, I started connected with Lakshmi, and with Durga, and through them, through their joint action, I started having even much more visions than I had when I was a kid. And one of the most revealing visions was when I saw something that I will never forget, but that changed my life forever. And through that vision, I just received this huge realization that I was not part of this planet, that this is just like temporary, let's say, experience of reality, but that this was not all, that the aim was not living this human normal life, that the aim of being here in this physical body, in this physical vessel, is to go back home. And then, like the puzzle started creating a more clear picture. So now I understood that God was gathering his army because he wanted all of us to come back home. That moment, I have to confess that it was very, very difficult for me to experience all of this. And at the same time, to have to be with my kids, to be cooking, cleaning, seeing my patients online, to be with my husband. Like everything felt like for me really overwhelming at that time. And I struggle a lot, I have to say and admit. But at the same time, happened something that was like a miracle. And it is that God was the one who was acting through me and within me. And from that moment of that realization, he became like the pilot of my life. And I just was dropped to the side as his co-pilot. And then this journey of spirituality became more intense and become at the same time more clarifying. And I realized that I was just here as an instrument and as a very devoted student of God. Through this connection with Him, I embarked myself in this process of learning how to live a very normal life as a wife, as a mother, as a, as a psychologist, and at the same time, how to achieve those states of liberations that we all are aiming to achieve in order to be more joyful, in order to be more in harmony, in order to be more successful in all the fields of our life. So I already mentioned a little bit of my background, but now I would like to connect with something that just happened last week in my life. Last week, before arriving back to Switzerland, I was in holidays with my family. I went for a trip to Iceland and to Greenland. I don't know if you have been there, but this is just like absolutely unknown countries for me, or were very unknown for me. But there was something that was calling me to go there and to visit those places. I went to a place that it's called Nanortalik. This is a place, a little town in the coast of Greenland. And in that place of Nanortalik, we took an excursion. And in this excursion, we went to visit some icebergs. And I was just thrilled about seeing these gigantic pieces of ice. And I was just like amazed of this beauty in their colors, because it's not only white, they have like a lot of varieties of blues, of light blue and also very deep blues. And I was amazed and I was freezing, but at the same time, I had like this connection with this inner realization that God is always like allowing me to have. And then while I was staring to this gigantic mound of ice, I was seeing at the same time how the mind really works. And as we know, it has been used as a metaphor for so many years, an iceberg to represent the mind. And I was saying, oh my God, if this gigantic piece of ice is just the part that I'm saying, how big is it in reality, the hidden part of this huge piece of ice that I'm not even seeing? And then I just started realizing this is exactly what happens with the mind. There is like the part that is visible from our personality, so the way in which we behave in life, but the big chunk of what is really holding that identity that we have been creating over the time is hidden, is hidden even to ourselves. We don't know what is there, is absolutely unknown. And through this, I came to two ideas. The first one, that we don't really know who we truly are, because the biggest part that is really somehow operating for us to behave and feel and manifest things in life is absolutely unknown to ourselves. And the second part above this one, or the second idea that I realized, is that at the end of the day, we are not even this part close to be that huge part of the mind, that huge piece of ice that the mind that represents the mind, right? So in order to come back to what I was explaining before, to my connection with God and all these moments of realization of spirituality connected with psychology, I just became aware that somehow, in order to achieve that state that we all want to achieve, of just realizing that we are not the mind, we need to learn how to melt that iceberg. We need to learn how to melt the mind. We need to learn how to dissolve that mind. And then this is the part where it's really tricky, because for some of us, this might seem like very difficult. For some others, it's like, yes, I want to do it. And I'm really working very hard to follow that path, but I don't know how to do that. And I am just here with my path and my history and my experience to tell you that, yes, this is possible. And yes, this is something doable. It's something that we all can achieve. And yes, we can do that, even though if we are not living in a monastery, even though we are not in the Himalayas, just meditating the whole day. Yes, we can achieve this, even though that we have a couple, or we do not have it, or we have kids or not, or we have a very demanding job or work. Independently of all the challenges that we are facing in our life, we can achieve that state of liberation. And I would just like to continue describing that realization, and then to share with you how somehow through spirituality and psychology, I received very clear clues of how we can do this in a very pragmatic way, an easy way somehow. So when I was coming back to the metaphor of the iceberg, when I was looking at it, I just said, okay, the only way, physically speaking, to melt this ice is through the action of the sun. And actually, what is the sun doing to this iceberg to help it to dissolve and to melt? It's giving two things, light and warmth, heat, isn't it? Okay. Light, in terms of the spirit, is what represents clarity in the vision. And God, which is the sun in this metaphor, is the one who is going to give us innerly this capacity to see clearly what is hidden, and we need to see it in order to dissolve it, to transform it. And second, God is also giving us, not from external situations, but from within, is giving us this inner capacity to love and to embrace with a lot of warmth all those aspects that we are now starting to see. And the moment in where we are really connecting with that process of seeing and also to embrace in love and kindness is where we are going to start really dissolving and melting those parts of our minds that are hidden, not visible, but also the ones that are visible and also that are being seen by us. This process of seeing and embracing in love and kindness is what we have somehow defined with this word that is very beautiful, and it is compassion. Compassion is truly a path, and I'm not just saying it because of nice words. I'm saying it because this is what has helped me to transform the deepest part of myself. it's compassion. And compassion started first from us to ourselves. This is the first step in this process. In spirituality, very often we think that we need to go and help others. We think that we need to go and send the messages, and we need to do a lot of outer work. But at the end of the day, yes, that is important. But this, if you haven't done or we haven't done the inner work, is not going to help us to progress in our path. So compassion, the joint action of seeing, being brave enough to see, and loving and caring and kind enough to embrace with love is what is going to help us to reconnect, to have a lot of empathy, and to comprehend deeper all those things that we have put it hidden because we don't want to see it, because we are scared of it, because we don't know how to process that information, and to really open the door for it to deliver the message that needs to be delivered for it to be transformed. So, of course, in this metaphor, the ice represents the material reality that we live. It represents the solidity, the rigidity, the coldness of that existence in a place of separation that we feel when we are believing that we are just like this very concrete being that is separated from the other ones. And the water in this metaphor is what represents this higher consciousness that is holding this iceberg and has never been separated from it. And at the same time, this water represents like this huge container, and also the message that this is from exactly the same qualities and the same material of the iceberg. So the water represents the connection and also the consciousness in which that crystallization of the individual mind took place in a certain moment of time. If that individual mind really is seen by love and is embraced by tenderness and compassion, we are going to experience and to realize, not because someone told us, but in our inner individual experience, that as ice, we are exactly of the same quality of that water that is containing us, that there is no separation, that there is just like a difference in the state, but it's not different at all at the end. And the more we are melting that ice with a lot of love, with a lot of tenderness, the more we are going to go deeper and deeper in that realization of being also the water that is containing and holding that iceberg in a safe space. That process of transformation of ourselves from our ice to water, meaning from our individuality, from our reality of separation, of coldness and rigidity, and to enter into that state of oneness, into that state of connection, into that state of belonging, has different stages. It's not something that would happen from one moment to the other. It's something that just requires a lot of effort for us to remember how to reconnect with that is hidden within, even in a deeper layers of the consciousness, that the mind, that is beyond even the mind. From my spiritual practice and my human experience as well, I have to say that that path of coming from or becoming the ice and becoming again the water, to have that as an experience, a true experience, we need to reconnect. And to reconnect, in my case, I followed like two different paths, let's say. From one side, I started entering more and more into the yogic practices. So as a Colombian person, meditation was something that was absolutely new for me. Yoga also, but at the time when I was living in Colombia, there was not many people that you could hear that were connected with these practices. But when I came to Switzerland, in 2017. And when this word started popping up in my mind, meditation, meditation, meditation. And once I enter into that practice, very quickly, I started being guided also to start doing yoga asanas. And the reason, of course, I understood later, it is because in order to reach that state of liberation that we really want to achieve, we need to do that in our physical vessel. We cannot disconnect from the body and to start just entering to a fantasy reality of what we imagine that the subtle world is and the divine world is. And just from this attachment to cultivate like this connection with what we cannot see, that is not possible if we have not developed yet and first the capacity to reconnect first in the immediate levels of existence that we have, that is the material existence, and to inhabit our physical body. So I was a little bit resistant also because it was so beautiful to be connected only with the subtle energies, and I just wanted to be there. And at that point, I don't know if it has happened also to some of you, but I have heard from so many other people as well that happen the same. And it is that the more that we are just connecting with the subtle energies through meditation, the less we want to live here, the less we want to be in this planet, the less we want to be in the physical body. And instead of having a wider experience of joy and connection, we live a more strong experience of polarity and disconnection. And as I experienced it, I felt as if there was like even resistance to be here. I was not accepting to be in this body. I just wanted to come home. And home for me didn't feel like it was in my body. It felt that it was somewhere else. And home for me didn't felt like being in a planet where there is like a lot of sometimes of difficult situations and where there is a lot of tension and anxiety and sometimes sadness and violence. For me, home was other place, which was very far away of all that existence. So the more that I was trying to connect in order to come back home only through the meditation or even through the asanas, which led me very quickly to enter into those very deep states of meditation, the more I realized that I was aiming to become more like a saint, as we can say in this world, like saint, like a holy person, that I was just searching to be in a very sattvic energy, to be very connected with the subtle energies, and I was entering a lot into that. But I realized that the more that I was entering into that frequency, which for me is like very natural, I tend to go there very quickly. I was also realizing that there was not a lot of peace most of the time in my life. And why? Maybe you are asking yourselves. And it is because I could attain that peace and these beautiful experiences while I was alone. I was in a very static place, while I was with people that was resonating with the same kind of energy. But the moment I was stepping out of my home and I was going out to the supermarket, the moment that I was connecting with the normal people that is close to our family, then I was feeling absolutely triggered, and I felt again that I didn't know how to hold that peacefulness state in those moments where I was out of my sattvic atmosphere. And in that moment, I was having this deep conversation with God, and I was telling him, this is very difficult. I don't know how to do this. I feel that my life is split in two. And I feel that either I go and pursue my spiritual path, or I enter fully into the world, but I don't know how to do this. It's very difficult. And then God was telling me two things. The first one is, Camila, that is all about people that are living the life like you and that are connecting with me from the heart are people who are working in this planet as bridges. We are like a bridge, and we need to learn how to be connected with the spiritual world, with the subtle realities, with this beauty and amazing source of love and joy and playfulness. And at the same time, we need to learn to be connected with this material world that sometimes is rough and sometimes hurts and sometimes is very uncomfortable, even more when we are very connected with the subtle reality. And God was telling me that is the whole idea of this. You are a bridge. All of you that are working in this, you are like bridges. And then we need to develop the mastery of oneself and oneself in this third dimension, meaning the mastery of living the life as oneself in this physical body, holding those very subtle energies in our sacred vessel, which is our body. At that moment, I also realized something else. And then I confirmed with Anandaji, and it is that the physical body at the end is not the bad part of the story. It's not the difficult part of the story. It is more difficult, the thoughts and the density that we can hold sometimes in our minds. And then is when God somehow took my hand once and again, and He started teaching me how to deal with those psychological aspects of the mind that are, of course, in the psychological field. We can do a lot of meditation, we can do a lot of yoga, we can do pranayamas, and yes, this is the path. We need to train our minds to be steady and one-pointed. We need to train the mind to be more focused. Yes, we need to train the mind to be more disciplined. But this is one part of it. But then we need also to learn how to transform those human emotions that we have that are not there because of a random reason, that are there because they were felt in one moment of the time. Perhaps a lot of them were felt when we were kids. And because by that time, when initially we felt very strong, I don't know, situations with a lot of adversity, and because we didn't know how to deal with that. But that time, because we were just kids, we just brought all that information and we hid that information in our unconscious mind. So, coming back to what I was saying, what God helped me to realize is that yes, I needed to keep on going with my routine, with my spiritual practice, but at the same time, I needed to open a space of self-inquiry. I needed to open like a space also to start to connect with myself in my human aspects, understanding that the emotions is not something that is separated from the body, that the emotions is not something that it's like abstract, that the emotions is what actually is really going on in the physical body the moment where we enter in contact with a situation and we are just like liberating a lot of substances in our body. So in this process of achieving liberation, I understood, in summary, that through the yogic practices, we can acquire this discipline and this persistence and this level of focus, but through learning how to understand better the psychological aspects of the self, we can really strengthen ourselves. We can really develop this kind of self-love and self-acceptance. And then with the joint forces of these two things, we can really experience how to achieve liberation in a step-by-step process. Liberation is not something that will happen for most of the people, like something like an action of serendipity or like a miracle. Liberation is a process that we can cultivate but we really need to pay attention to these two parts, to the parts of developing discipline, focus, connected with our meditation, and connecting also with the body through the asanas or pranayama. But at the same time, we need to become like researchers and to investigate and to inquire what is our mind, the human mind about, especially the things that are hidden that we are not seeing. Then perhaps the question is, but how can we do that? I think that we know how to meditate. We know there are like paths already that are helping us to gain mastery in these aspects of the spiritual path. But how can we really get to become the masters of ourselves in this physical body, living a normal and ordinary life with challenges, with families, with works? How can we do that? So there are like different steps that I'm just going to like to mention, but my what I'm thinking that I would like to do is through the sessions that will come mostly every Tuesday. I would love just like to enter and specifically to tap into one of the aspects of the mind from psychological perspective and also from a spiritual perspective, and to give you the tips and the information of how to deal with these 7 things that I'm just going to describe in this moment. Of course, today is the first session and we cannot go deeply through all of it, but the idea is just like to give you like a presentation, a general presentation of what are we going to find in these moments of connection. And we are going just like to unfold and we're going to go deep in each one of these topics. So in order to master ourselves, we need to get to know better our avatars. All of us, we are not this. I am not this body. I'm not this Camila with this religion, with this background, with these characteristics of my personality. I am something else, absolutely different. But in order to achieve the knowledge of who I truly am or who we truly are, we need to start coming to our most the reality in our proximity, which is our human avatar. And we really need to get to know it better. We need to investigate which is our personality, how we develop that personality. We need to understand what makes us feel relaxed and why it is important to understand what makes us relaxed, because we want to be actively more in contact with those kind of aspects in our life. Because the more relaxed that we are means that our nervous system is more calm. And the more calm our nervous system is, the more capable we are to connect. And then it's more likely that we can experience joy and peace. But we really need to discover that, because it's not the same for everyone. We are all unique representations of the divine source. What else do we need to discover in order to achieve that mastery of the self? We need to understand what creates tension within us. When we feel tension or stress or anxiety within us, it's because somehow there is a dissonance between the body and the mind. And as I mentioned before, we will understand how the body is connected with the emotions and how the mind is connected with our concepts, with our ideas, with our judgments that we have developed through the time. And the moments where we feel a lot of tension, immediately we can use this as a beautiful opportunity just to try to understand deeper where is the dissonance, what is what I am truly feeling. And remember that the emotions and the body are telling you the truth of what you are really experiencing versus what you try to think or what you are pushing yourself to believe that you are really experiencing or feeling. I don't know if you have experienced, but I'm sure that yes, many, many times in life where you are just in a meeting or you are connecting with somebody else and somehow you feel very uncomfortable and you feel the tension and you feel that your body literally is activated as it wants to run away from that person or that situation. But at the same time, your mind is telling you, no, you need to hit this work, you need to say what you have to say, you need to be connected with this person. And then it's like this huge amount of tension. Usually, what your body is showing to you, it's a beautiful message of what the situation is truly creating within you, while what the mind is bringing to you is actually most of the time like the social instructions that the mind it's giving to you to maintain that social mask with which we are interacting with people most of the time in our daily lives, in order to bring more and more that connection within ourselves, to melt that iceberg of the mind, in order to experience in this physical body that we are one with the source. We need to dissolve that social mask as much as we can. That it is so important in the spiritual path to be very aware of what is causing that tension, because tension means dissonance, and that means that the body and the emotions, the inner reality, is in somewhere in a place absolutely different from what the mind and the social aspect are asking you to follow. I will just continue a couple of minutes more, and then I will open a space for sharing or open a space of questions if you have. So, in order to continue working with that mastery of the self, we need to get also familiarized with the physical sensations that we go through when we are experiencing something that is very uncomfortable for us. We need to learn how to deal with that from the body. And yes, this is part of the psychological field too, because most of the time when we want to connect only with what is holy, what is beautiful, with what is in harmony, and we disconnect and we reject what is very uncomfortable, we are not melting it. We are just putting it on hold, and we are just like hitting it with a lot of layers. And the more we do that, the more that we are delaying the progress in our spiritual process of liberation. So we will also talk and address this topic of how to get familiarized with the physical sensations, and we will do practices to connect with those physical sensations and to be very aware of them, so that they can actually start becoming more and more to dissolve more and more. We will talk also about understanding which are our true needs. Sometimes walking the spiritual path, we are so busy building a lot of idealization of how we should behave, or where we should reach, or in which person we need to become. But this is not the path. Why? Because the more we do that, we are operating in the temporal. How can I say distinguish? We are operating more in the future, but we are disconnecting from the present moment. And what we need is to come back into the present moment. And the moment that we are really fully connected with ourselves in our body, meaning with our emotions, we can really understand better which are the needs that we haven't met for ourselves. And the more we can do that, the more that we can be more attentive to them, and the more that we are going to achieve those states of relaxation that are going to really, really allow us to experience that states of peace and joy with a nervous system that is regulated in all circumstances of life, not only when we are in static atmospheres. And through this point, we will also enter into a field that for me is fascinating, and that God has taught me in a very beautiful way. and it's to become the Holy Mother or the Holy Father of our inner child. This is connected with learning to understand our emotional needs. So actually, at what time of my process, when I was dealing with a lot of suffering with this stage of facing my emotions, my deep emotions, and to learn how to dissolve trauma, and also when I was learning how to feel those emotions and to hold that uncomfortableness in my physical body, God as a teacher was constantly reminding me that yes, there is that part of me that is suffering. That is not something that is broken, it's not something that is bad, it's not something that I need to feel ashamed of, but it's just the parts of myself that haven't developed as fast as other parts of myself. And he himself, through the aspect of Divine Mother, told me and showed me how to create that inner space inside of myself, of tapping into that energy of the inner girl that doesn't know how to do that because she didn't learn when she was a girl, and at the same time to tap into that energy of the more mature aspects of my human aspect as well, to be able to teach those aspects of the kid and to take them by the hand and to help them to grow, to help them to develop, but now in a very healthy, in a very loving and kind way. So was also very beautiful thing that I would love to share and to extend myself more on it. And it's this art of becoming the mother and the father of our own child, who perhaps has a lot of things or needs that were not met by the people who loved us the most, but perhaps they didn't know yet how to meet those needs that we had deeply in our hearts. So this process of re-education, our inner child, I have to say that is one of the most liberating parts of the journey. Talking into the spiritual, sorry, in the psychological part of the healing process, and it really gives us like this autonomy and also this strength and confidence to learn how to deal with those aspects. And the moment we reach into that space and we learn how to do that, we are going to learn how fast we can progress from that point onwards, because then there's a lot of limitations that are just like cut off, a lot of fears, anxieties, a lot of things that we didn't know how to handle before. But now, when we know how to deal with that, then it's just we are becoming more and more unstoppable in the things and goals that we want to achieve in life. So these are like most of the topics that we can discuss from psychology perspective, also aiming to achieve that state of liberation in this world. And I just want to close what I'm saying by reminding all of us, including myself, that God in this material world, He doesn't have the arms, He doesn't have a voice, He doesn't have the legs, He doesn't have a face, but He has all of us. And He's calling all of us to be His instruments, to allow Him to teach us and to develop those aspects, divine aspects within ourselves, so we can really, really, really help this collective and this world to be more radiant and to come into a peaceful and loving way of living. I know if some of you would like to ask something or to share something. Yes, difficult for me to pronounce this name, Shri Prakash. But please open your microphone and share with us.
Thank you, Camila. My name is Shiv Prakash Mishra. And just to introduce you, I'm also a working professional in India, in a Gujarat side. And it's really a very, very wonderful session. Why I am telling it so wonderful? Because today is a journey, right? And today I feel like that how I joined is just like God has given me this opportunity to connect with you. And the thing is that I was looking for the questions which you answered today. Actually, every day is a struggle for me, you know. I do Devi Kriya regularly. Although I really don't do with Anand sir at 5 o'clock because of some health issue. But after that, at 6 o'clock, I do Devi Kriya on a regular basis. And every day I put a very strong intention that today I will go in on my office with a very peace condition, and I will have a lot of peace in my office. But you know, as you said, that as you move outside to the world, the vibration is totally different, and every day it becomes like a challenge, and lots of emotions comes out, right? You know, anger, sometimes there is a very hot conversation between the teammates and the people around me, and it really becomes hard. So today only I was thinking whether I am progressing in my spiritual path. Am I doing things right, and what extra I need to do? And that's the answer today I was seeking. How to get out of this, how to I don't want to get out of this, but I need to embrace it, right? What exactly is my requirement in my life and in the spiritual life? And today you gave a very beautiful answer. It's just to be with that. Although Anand sir always says that be with your emotions, and today I was feeling angry, so I said, yeah, I am feeling angry. I'm really feeling very angry, but I need further help from your end, maybe in due course, how to dissolve that. I know I am feeling angry. I know my emotions are there. I know I am feeling on a lower side. It's there. Living with that emotions, how much time I can live with? I try to live with it for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20, but it becomes really very, very difficult sometimes. That you know, mind becomes totally different, and body becomes totally different, and emotions and minds complete continuously kick on the emotions. Yes, that person has done wrong, that person has done wrong, you have done right. And it comes to my mind, Array, this is a ego is speaking from my mind. My mind is trying to give me that it is your ego. And it's really challenging, huh, Camila? So that's what I really need your support. I need that support from the team, that how to observer. I know I can observe the emotions, I can feel the emotions, but how to get out of these emotions, how to dissolve these emotions. I'm not saying that I cannot do this. At this point of time, I'm going to do it. I am very firm that I am liberation. What you said, I am going to do my level best to do whatever is possible for my journey. But I really need your support in this aspect. What to do, how to do, and your guidance will be very, very much appreciated to me, Camilla. And that's all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for hearing and to listening the call of your heart, because this is not a coincidence. You know, everything is just there connecting in a beautiful way. And you needed to come here because maybe you needed to, you achieved to a point in your spiritual path where you need to integrate the other part, the same that happened to me and the same that happens to a lot of us, because we really need to understand the following. And it is, the more we meditate, the more we do our kriyas, the more we do our pranayamas, the more we enter into the sattvic energy, the more we are receiving light. That's what I use that metaphor. We are receiving more light. And what is the use of the light? Is to give you the possibility to have more clarity in the vision so that you can see. And that is absolutely important. So it's not that you are not doing enough. It's not that you're doing wrong your path. No, you're doing beautifully. But now you are seeing what is hidden in the iceberg. You're starting to see that. And you're starting to see the what you call in a beautiful way, the lower side. You are starting to see the judgmental thoughts that are there. You're starting to see and to experience the anger, the frustration, all of that we call ego. But when we call these kind of things in ego, I don't like that word actually, to be honest, because I think that the ego is just like englobes everything in something that you feel resistance with, but you don't know what it really is and how to deal with that. But when we enter with psychological terminology and we understand deeply what that ego really is in a more concrete and tangible way, then we can learn how to deal with it. Because it's not like like an abstract category, but it's something that it's something that happens in the body. The moment that you are angry, if you call it like ego, what should we do with ego? Where is ego? I don't know. But where is angry? Where is anger? In your body. You feel when you're angry, you feel the tension in your jaw. You feel your hands contracting into fist. You feel that your chest is opening. It's like happening in your physical body, in the material world where you are really living. And when you learn that there are tools to deal with that, then spiritual path becomes easier, because you have like some helpful tools to help you to deal with the uncomfortable part of the journey, and then you can just continue with less guilt and less inner confrontation your spiritual path. That is what we are going to learn here, and this chapter of anger is one of my favorites. I love it, and I have to say that I love anger. I repressed my anger for so many years, for so many reasons. I was not allowed to express anger, not in my family, not with my parents. It was something that was just stuck. I was in need always to play on the side of the kind one that was understanding everything, that was allowing everything. But through this beautiful path and through the light of God within me, it opens for me up the possibility to connect with my anger. And what happened with the light of God and the vision of God, I understood which was the use of being angry. And it is not destruction as we think. It is something absolutely different. Actually, it's much more connected with the new orders than with the concept of destruction by itself. When we are angry, it's because actually something is really happening. And if we, instead of saying something is wrong with myself because I'm angry and I should be holy and saint and happy and joyful and peaceful, I cannot because I'm so angry and pissed off. So if we stop wanting to become this idealized I don't know, I'm going to say it again. If we stop trying to convince ourselves that we need to be perfect and creating this fantasy of idealization of the holy and saint, and we accept that we are human bodies, human beings experiencing a very sacred and holy experience in this physical vessel, then we can find another way. And which is the way with anger, that we can say, okay, this anger is just a messenger. Emotions are just messengers. There's nothing else. It's not that you're bad. It's not towards your identity. It's something that is just external. Emotion, it's a messenger. Of what? Maybe anger is telling you that someone is crossing the limits. Maybe anger is telling you that you're exhausted. Maybe anger is telling you that you're sad or tired. We need to understand the meaning that is really deeply rooted in those emotions, and then to understand the need that we are not meeting from ourselves. And the moment that we stop the judgment and we start really comprehending with love and kindness and with a lot of attention, then we can address those aspects of ourselves in a very wise way. Maybe it's not anger as anger. Maybe it's just that you're tired. Or maybe it's because someone crossed limits with you and you need to set some limits with the people. We don't really know. But the idea of this space is to to talk and to discuss these aspects that pops up in our spiritual path in a very open way, and to give you ideas of how we can reinterpret these emotions or these challenges in life so we can integrate them instead of having rejection and polarity, just to integrate them. The more we have the experience of integration, the more we enter into those micro moments of oneness. I call that those moments like that. And oneness, meaning being absolutely dissolved in the mind and enter into this huge ocean of consciousness, using our metaphor, is reached by most of the people gradually, moment by moment, and is cultivating that possibility of reaching these micro moments of oneness that we are going to experience in our physical body with our nervous system, that yes, it is doable, it is possible. I can feel that oneness. I can achieve this. Yes, I can experience my emotions. They are so beautiful. They're holy too. They're giving me information. They're just allowing me, like a compass, to know where to go to, you know? They're so important. And then the judgments that we have created about the anger is going to start dissolving. The mind is going to start dissolving, because it's not, I'm the holy, the anger is the bad part of myself. No, I am what I am. Sometimes anger comes, it's a message. The moment that I hear it, I integrate it, I understand what is going on with me. I am going to be the mother or the father of my inner child, and I'm going to take myself into a safe space. Then I'm thanking the anger for being in my life or for having popped up, because now I learn how to bring myself more and more into a safe space. Thank you very much for sharing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Camila.
You're welcome. There is a healing with Kia,
Hi,
please.
Camila ma'am.
Hello.
I just wanted so the part where you were talking about the inner child part, and when we tend to heal the inner child and we tend to reparent ourselves with the intention of the I'm not sure what is the right word here. I'm not sure if it's the divine father or the right sort of fatherhood, motherhood. But when I went through that inner child healing journey, I was able to very deeply resonate with what you were saying. And I know that how powerful that is, just to heal that part of you, balance out your masculine and feminine energy, because that divine is always has been with you. It's just waiting for you to, just accept and open the doors. And it really does allows you to heal. So that the area where you were talking about the aspect of allowing the divine to heal you, allowing that and creating that space. So I was deeply able to resonate. But at the same time, Camilla ma'am, even though that I'm able to identify these parts in myself, right? When I see my loved ones experiencing that, and I know that they have their inner child wounds, I don't know how do I help them identify that and release theirs.
To your parents, did you say? I didn't understand that person. To whom? To others? Your parents?
My parents or my loved ones, and actually you feel that you want to heal,
Yes.
or you want to be a part of your parents' healing as well. So yes.
Yes. So I understand fully what you are saying, because I'm going through the same in my life. I went through the same and still. And I have learned from God that all of us were given the free will, and all of us are here living this experience. And the more we do the work of ourselves, that inner transformation that we achieve is something that is, even without the intention that comes from the mind, usually not from the heart, but even without that intention from the mind, the moment that we are really entering to that transformative energy, this is going to make you behave differently. This is going to make you set some limits when you need to set them. It's going to be help you to be more comprehensive when you need to do it. It's going to help you to identify when to help and when to withdraw. So at the end, this work with the inner child is helping you to develop this kind of inner wisdom that is helping you to deal with the situations in the best way possible in the moment that you are facing them. So, with the parents, there are parts of ourselves, of course, that they want to help others, not only the parents, but inner wisdom has taught me that sometimes I need also to give them some space to do their own process, because their process has their own timings, which are different from my timings and from my process. And it doesn't mean that I'm coming faster or that I'm forward, that they are not. It just means that both processes are just different. So the moment when you feel in a situation that you really need to say something, it's not because you are thinking that you want to, but it's like something that is just like coming from your heart, that is just like searching for the way to manifest with your voice, with your words, with your gestures, then do so, because it's something that is just like coming from this experience of oneness from within. But there are moments where maybe you think that you have to do that, but maybe God is just working on them in its own rhythm and its own timing.
It makes so much sense. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being
Thank you.
here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And next, someone else we have here, Disha. Please open your microphone.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste.
We were talking about the emotion. Ma'am, you were talking about the emotion. So emotions are actually helping us, right? So they have some message, you said. So how to identify the right message? Please help me with that.
That's a beautiful question. Thank you very much. You remember that at the beginning of the session, I was telling that I have realized that in order to dissolve or to melt that ice and to enter into that space of oneness, for me, it was really important to develop that connection with the wisdom through the yogic practices, and also to working with the psychological parts of myself, right? And that is why for me, these two things need to coexist and work in consonance together, because we learn how to identify the emotions and the real message with more clarity, with of course, the more light that we are receiving through our spiritual practice. The more that we practice, the more that we can really connect in that space of silence, the more that we can attune to the source, the more that we can feel God in our hearts, the more that we are enriching our minds with this beautiful literature that is connected with the spirituality from different religions, because at the end the message is the same. The more that we are immersed into that energy, the more wisdom we will develop inside that will help us to clarify and to identify which is the message that this emotion is wanted to deliver to me today. And at the same time, the more I understand myself, the more I understand my background, my personality, my wounds, the more that I understand the things that I enjoy and gives me peace, the things that are triggering me, different kind of emotions, the more that I enter into that psychological aspects of myself, and I dive into the ocean and I enter into that hidden aspects of the personality, which is the hidden part of the iceberg, the more that I'm going to understand really how my avatar, how my mechanism works. And with the wisdom, then it's a beauty, because now I can understand really what is going on with the light of God. And then from that wisdom and from the knowledge also from myself, from the yes, psychologically from the self, I'm going to understand better what I really need, what is the message of the emotion, and what is what I really need to take myself again, as I was telling to, I cannot pronounce, Shiv Prakash, the more that we are going to realize not only which is the message, but also which is the need that is not met yet. And the more that I do that, I can take myself to a safe space. That is what we are going to work a lot together. How we can get into that space of safety, but safety not in the mind of being alone, meditating, but safety in the physical body. To feel safe in my vessel means to feel safe and to learn how to hold those uncomfortable emotions. We will talk about that.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Do we have more questions, or I think that we do you have another question? No, it's okay. Good. Okay. So I think that I don't know if Kavita want to say
Yes.
something to wrap up the session, or
Thank you, Camila ji. It was a beautiful session, very nourishing, very enriching. The way you explained the details, you blended the spiritual insight with your psychological wisdom. You know, it is with your life experiences. So I'm feeling expansion inside me. Your experiences were like very much resonating with me. So I could feel that, yes, we are looking forward to the upcoming weekly sessions, that how we are going to grow more, learn more through you. And the way you guided us how to connect with our emotions and how to release them. The example of your iceberg thing, that was a very profound thing. Means we have learned, we have read about this, about subconscious mind and all that, with the metaphor of iceberg, but you have experienced that. So when you were talking about that, it was like you have just we were able to visualize that. So that was just very something that everyone can resonate with. So melting those emotions and coming to our heart space, then connection with God, like God is connecting, God is experiencing himself through us, teaching us. So these, all these aspects, whatever you have told, has like brought a, means it has grounded us a little more, since we are all here in this spiritual journey, and we have so many revelations, and also there are many questions that are unanswered. We don't know whom to ask. We don't know, we don't have someone to guide. We are jumping from one workshop to other workshop. Now the people who are joining here in Devi Path, they have this like we can now rely on you, your wisdom, and you can guide us even more how to like grow ourselves and get answers to our questions. Like Shiv Prakash ji, he is looking forward to, he was so keen. So I could say that I'm so grateful that you are joining this session and taking it forward every weekend, every week. I think every Tuesday, right?
yes,
So
that is the idea.
yes, thank you. We are looking forward to unfold this journey together. Thank you so much. Very enriching session.
Kavita, thank you too also for helping me to host this session, and thank you for all of the people that are connecting with us today. And I am also sending a lot of love and light to your hearts, and also to the people that are watching us through a streaming connection, and that maybe you will listen to us maybe in future in some other opportunity. So I'm super excited about this. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I am just like an instrument, but mainly I identify myself as a student of God. And He has
Yes.
taught me in so many ways. And sometimes I have been a very good student, and sometimes I have facing also my resistance. But I think that it's just wonderful to have that experience and to be able to share with you, and to just to share the teachings that I have received to myself from Him.
Thank you. Thank you for making yourself open and making yourself a divine channel for us also to connect to that divine energies. So thank you so much. I am so grateful for your presence here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much also for you, your presence, the presence of all of you. And I'm very excited about what will be created in this space with all of us together. Because
Yes.
together we heal and together we rise.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So I think now we are good to go. We can close the session. See you next Tuesday.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you all.